Hello. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. So excited for part two of our three-part series, all about setting up a really solid foundation for your brand photography business. And that's what I love to teach on. That's what I specialize in. Systems. I have my Meg Marie signature method. Some of you have the Confident Brand Photographer course and you've learned this method. But we're going to talk about a lot of it today. And I want to kind of talk about a few key things that I've really done in my client experience that hopefully you're doing or you will be doing after today to really attract that next level client who you want to serve and to really charge more than just, you know, charging enough. That's one of a mindset shift that I really stepped into and really owned, the last few years of my business is that I don't want to just make enough money. And maybe this is something you're saying too is oh, I just need enough clients. I just need to make enough money. I just need to have enough. And, if you're watching this, I don't believe that you're going to be satisfied with just enough to get by, right? We really want to feel abundant, feel an overflow of money, feel like we have multiple clients to pick from. We have more clients coming to us than we can even serve. That's my goal is I don't want to just have enough. I want to have an overflow of money to really be able to do the work I love and do it really well and not burn out and have enough money to pay me and my family at the end of the day, and have resources to be able to really impact more people, to be able to be here today, talking to all of you. I've had to step into that mindset of I want overflow and I want to have more than enough time, right? I want to have more than enough money. I want to have more than enough clients coming to me, right? So there's a little shift for you right off the bat. If you're joining me, say hello in the comments. I want to see who's here. Say hello, welcome. Let me try to pull up the chat really quick. There it is. Let me know who's joining me live. If you're here live, thank you for being here live. That's amazing. I mean, the energy of being here live with me and we can interact, you can ask questions. I can actually help support you with what you need now is everything, right? So thank you for making time to be here. Hey Douglas, thank you for joining me live. Howdy. Oh, let me know where you're joining from. A lot of you I already know, but just remind me, where you're at, and so you can kind of see where everyone else is at too, the other photographers who are here with us today. Yeah, and so let's dive in. So this is a three-part series we're doing talking about really setting up the strong foundations for your photography business. And some of you know I have the Confident Brand Photographer course, and I do offer coaching programs and masterminds. So I can help support you in setting all this up. And I do have we are opening the doors for my program Foundation and Flourish very soon. So reach out if you want more information about that and you really want accountability to set up these systems and you want actually some more personalized support from me. But today we're going to kind of do an overview of some of the key things you're going to definitely want to have set up in your photography business to really attract that next level client. And the reason I added, if you saw the notes of this live or you got my email, if you're on the list, I wanted to really focus on how you can charge 3 times more than every other photographer in your area. And this is something that actually came up on a recent workshop I did, the 13K mini session day workshop some of you were at. Somebody asked this question and I was asking what blocks are coming up for you when you think about having a 5-figure day and creating this amazing experience for your clients, what blocks come up? And somebody said, how do you get over the block or like the mindset of charging 3 times more than every other brand like photographer in your area. And I love that she brought that up because it is so true that when you really create a VIP client experience and you're investing in that experience and that day for your clients, creating an incredible experience, not just incredible photos, because that's a given, right? As a photographer, we are the experts. We show up and we create beautiful, incredible photos. But how can you really go that extra step where somebody is willing to pay more than the average photographer in your area? And that's what we're talking about today. So, the first thing I want to invite you all to share in the comments or think about if you're watching the replay. And by the way, if you are watching replay, put hashtag replay and you can still comment. And I'm going to go back through and read all the extra comments later and we can kind of chat back and forth. But Texas, Doug's in Texas. Oh, Douglas. I don't know if you go by Doug, but welcome, Douglas from Texas. So here's my question for you. Do you have, like, what is the brand promise and transformation that you provide your clients? When they sign up and book with you, when they, go through the planning of the session, when they show up and they get their photos, when they see the final images, like, what is that transformation that you are giving them by signing up with you? What is that promise? So it's good to start kind of high level and think about this and think about how we can weave this into our client experience. So some of my promises that I have always really led with in my marketing and my messaging and, what I build my client experience around are these couple promises. So my goal for my clients is that they walk away saying, wow, thank you for making this such a fun and easy experience. And here's how I know if I'm doing my job. Here's how I know if I am really showing up and really honoring that promise to my clients. So just the other day, I had an amazing photo shoot, like up in Encinitas, California, at this gorgeous resort. It was for this brilliant woman who has a marketing agency, and she had a few of her team. A few of the people on her team were there. So there was like 4 people I was photographing, and we went around the resort, the hotel. We got incredible photos. We had like a happy hour by the poolside cabana, and we got photos there of them having a happy hour because that was part of their like brand image, is like really laid back and really like approachable and authentic as part of their brand. So, it's not like the stuffy like marketing blazer like posed perfectly photos. That's not what they wanted. They wanted something different, right? And I knew that because of my client experience and because of this VIP client experience every one of my clients goes through. And part of that is we have a call together, whether that's on Zoom or a phone call. And I find out like what they really want the images to feel like and look like. Okay. So that's part of my experience. But let me finish the story first and we'll come back to that. So so at the end of the day, we finished on the beach. We walked down these like stairs that go directly to the beach from the resort, and we like finished down there. We popped some champagne, like we got the photos. And then at the end, she gave me a big hug and she was like, thank you. She was like, this was so amazing. She's like, thank you for making it today fun and easy. Boom. Like as soon as she said that, I'm like, yes, I did it. Okay. Like, yes, like that is what I want my clients to say. And a lot of them have reflected that back to me, just like she did on Friday. And she said, thank you for making this fun and easy. That's what we wanted. And I never told her that was my intention, right? I never said like, hey, this is my intention, is like today's going to be fun and easy for you. And like, I hope you say that, tell me that later. Like, I didn't ask her to do that, but inside, that's one of my mantras. And that's one of my brand promises to my clients is today's going to be fun and easy. The whole experience, we're going to get incredible photos. It's going to be very intentional. I'm going to make sure that we get the photos you need for your brand, but I also want the experience to be fun and easy. So that's an example of like one of my brand promises. And even if you've never gotten super intentional about like what is the brand promise for my client experience, you probably have it. You probably know it inside. And there's probably something like your clients have reflected back to you, maybe like in reviews or at the end of the session or in an email later, a text message. Like, what do your clients say? I would love to hear from you guys who are live. Like, what is something that you hear your clients say a lot? Another thing that my clients have reflected back to me is thank you, like you made me feel so comfortable on camera and I felt confident. Like thank you for helping me shine on camera. And they have said those exact words. And that is one of my promises to them. And it's, if you go to my website, if you're in my marketing, like if you read my client welcome guide that I send out, like I love helping people feel confident on camera and, taking the awkwardness away. And like, because I build my entire experience around that, like my clients come to me for that, right? And I stand out. I stand out, and that is how I really attract these people who are happy to pay more money than the average, photo shoot in your area because that's what they want and that's what I'm promising and that's what I deliver. So what is it for you? Ooh, got some stuff coming in. Okay. Bianca, I've had clients tell me you're such a breath of fresh air. Yes. Ugh. At first I didn't get it. Then I realized I helped them feel comfortable enough to be themselves. Yeah, like that's everything. Like you can't, that's not, it's like sometimes we get so caught up as photographers and thinking about like, okay, you get this much time, this many photos, you get these many locations, this many outfits, you get this retouching. Our clients don't care about any of that. I mean, they do, but not really. Like, that's not what's going to make them hire you for more money or like over another photographer. What's going to make them pick you and know that you're the one for them is what, like Bianca said, like feeling like, oh, this was like such a breath of fresh air. Like, this was different than any other photo shoot I've had. This is like, I was so maybe like so nervous, right? All of our clients are so nervous, like leading up to it. Like, they don't get on camera every day. It's like, it's hard for anyone. Like it's awkward for anyone. So if you can be that breath of fresh air for them, and like help them feel like they can just be themselves, like that is worth more than like the average photographer in your area, right? Like that is like the magic, the extra like secret sauce of what we do to really support our clients to stepping into their next level and like taking a bet on themselves. Just before this live, I had a call. I had a what do we call it in the sales world? I had a discovery call. I call it a connection call, but I had a discovery call, and she's gonna book. I'm gonna send her the contract after this. But she was rare in the fact that she kind of opened up on that. And this is leading into something I wanted to talk about. So this is perfect. What I want to talk about is three things today with you that I want to make sure I hit on and I don't forget and I don't ramble and go off tangent too much. So I want to talk about your sales flow, your brand questionnaire, and that planning call that you have with your client. And there's some huge opportunities on those three, like on the sales call with the questionnaire you're going to send and on the planning call for the photo shoot where you're creating like the mapping out the whole vision for the brand photo shoot. There are some huge opportunities where you can really step up and be the expert, and you can really create and deliver a VIP experience, that next level experience that's going to really that next level, your next level client really wants, that experience they're really wanting. You get to create that. So the first part of that is your sales strategy and process. So we need to have like a sales process that works for us. And I used to think like, oh, there's like one way to do the sales call, and like here's like a sales call, like here's the sales call script I should do. And like if you have my courses, you actually get this, right? You get like my sales process, my 4 C's to sale in my Confident Brand Photographer course, and my mastermind, you get a sales script. But like here's the thing, I don't recommend anyone uses my exact script. It's more of a guide if you're not sure like where to start or you're feeling nervous. I think it's great to actually have like a few questions that you ask every client on your sales calls and creating your flow to that, right? Like sales is a huge part of what we do. And if you want to raise your prices and you want to sell like higher ticket photo shoots, so that you can serve like less people every year, but still hit your goals, your income goals, and still have that overflow coming in that we talked about, right? Like if you want to get there, like you have to really put time and intention into your sales process. And we need to like create like what is my sales flow. So a few tips like I have for you that have really helped my process is number one, I mean, when you're just starting in brand photography or as a photographer, or maybe you're just like in a slow period and you feel like you're looking ahead at your schedule and you're like, okay, the next 2 months, like I don't have a lot of photo shoots booked. Like I need to book some clients. Like I'm not full yet. Like I have spots available. I'm not like hitting the income I really desire yet. So if that's you, like get people on the phone, like absolutely do the connection call, the discovery call, like whatever you want to call it. I for the first few years of my business, I did that with every single client. Like they got on the phone in order to even get the price from me. I now have prices on my website, and I know a lot of photographers love to do like starting at price, and I think that's great. I think you can do either way. I've seen both ways work. So it's like whatever you're feeling like good about doing now. But the reason why, getting people on the phone and taking some time to talk to them is so important to help you stand out is because then you get this opportunity to ask these higher level questions that I'm going to go over a couple today with you that I ask on the sales call. But if via email back and forth, like it's just not the same energy as when you actually get to hear someone's voice. Like you get to like hear them talking, right? You could read my emails all day long or my social media posts, but you don't really feel like you know me until like you get on a live like this, right? Or we get on a phone call together. And so it's this huge opportunity to say like, hey, like I'm going to show up for you, and I'm going to be really present, and I'm going to see you, and I'm going to hear you. I'm going to listen because I really care like what you want. You're not just a number to me. You're not just like one of my 10 clients for the month. Like, no, I want to like get to know who are you? Like, who's Bianca? Who is Douglas? Um, what are your dreams and desires? What are your goals? Like, what is your big vision of where your business is headed? Like, tell me like what that looks like in 3 to 5 years from now. Like, where do you see your business growing to? That's a question I ask, right? Like, this is a higher level kind of like open-ended question, I like to say, that I ask people on that call to really like hear like, why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? Beyond just getting photos for the website, social media, like what do you really want? What do you really want and desire from your business? And like, then I get to listen, right? Then we get to listen. So on that sales call, like asking the right questions is so important. And then listening and like not feeling like you need to tell them all your secrets on that call. That's a big mistake. Like I see photographers making is feeling like they need to like give so much information away. Like you need to tell them like the locations you're going to go to, and you need to tell them like every little thing they're going to get signing up with you. And we don't want to overwhelm people. Okay. We want to like keep it like the process of working with us like easy, right? And so on that call, it's like it's your opportunity to really like get to know them, and like why did they start their business? Like why are you showing up every day as a business owner, or like going for this dream now? Like, why now? And like, these are questions I love to ask and just get really curious about, like, why are you in business? Like, what is your story? Like, I love to hear, why are they doing what they do? And like, I know sometimes we can just get so in our head when it comes to the sales process that, like, we forget that, like, oh, this is like a human in front of me, and like, this is a big deal for them, that they are going to take this leap, this next step forward, and make this investment in themselves and their business and say, okay, like, I'm going all in, I'm ready. And so, like, I love to hear about that and get genuinely curious and find out, like, what is it for them. So I'm curious, if are you doing this on your sales call? What do you guys ask on the sales calls? I would love to know if you have any juicy questions you want to share with our group and this community, like questions you feel like have really worked well to connect with people on that call. Because that call is really about, like, connection. And I look at sales as, like, it's just an opportunity to connect and serve and share what you do. Like, that's sales. You're sharing what you have to offer. Once you, like, connect and find out what they really desire, what they need, then you get to share, like, ooh, I have, like, the perfect experience for you. Like how Bianca said, like, her promise, like, what she gives her clients is, like, helping them feel comfortable enough to be themselves. That is huge. So she gets to share that, like, hey, when you sign up to work with me, like, I'm going to help you feel comfortable. Like, don't worry. Like, we're going to have a fun day. Like, you're going to look at the photos and say, oh my gosh, that is me. That is the next level me. And like, that feels like me. And like, so she can start to paint this picture to her clients. Like, that's beyond just like the photos and the editing and like the time together, right? It's like, what are they really getting? Douglas says, what story do you want to tell? Yes, so perfect, Douglas. Like, I love that. And that's so good for brand photography. So, like, let's move on. So, like, sales process, creating your sales process that, let's just sum this up. Creating the sales process that works for you. But if you're not fully booked up yet, I recommend not just sending your prices on in an email or like just having them on the website. Like, I really recommend you encourage people to hop on a connection call so you can really communicate your value better, and you can hear them, you can see them, you can really like connect with them on a deeper level. And that's what that VIP client wants. They want someone who's like invested in them and their vision and hearing about what they really want and maybe what they don't want from the photos. And so, like, don't make the mistake of like not taking the time, that extra time, to really like get to know your client and see them and be excited about their vision, about the shoot. Like, that's part of the sales process, and you really want to customize that for the client, right? You want to customize it for that person, and you want to show up show up for them. So then moving on to like, I want to move on to the next topic of like the brand questionnaire. That's so important for like that next level experience. And this is why I love that Doug brought up like that question of like, what's the story you want to tell? So this is something like you could ask on the brand questionnaire. And sometimes I call it your brand themes, but it's like story is a great way to look at it, because as photographers, especially brand photographers, we are the creative director. We get to create that storyboard and that like vision for the shoot. And it's super helpful to think in terms of like stories of their brand. What are the brand stories? So like for me, I am a mompreneur. You probably know that because I talk about it in my branding a lot and like being a mom. And that's something that I want to share in my branding. And that's one of my stories. And then another story is my photographer life and like being a photographer and a coach for photographers. That's another story. Another story is my love of like margaritas and living room dance parties. And I have a lot of little stories I like to tell because it's part of who I am. And, we get to kind of curate that as, when we create our own brand, and then we get to help support our clients, like on that planning session you're going to have with them and on the call to like help them create their brand stories. So I love Yvette said, I asked them what their concerns are after we've established connection. and lighthearted conversation. I love that, Yvette. That is a great question, like to ask on the sales call of like, hey, like, what else? Like, is there anything else holding you back or anything else that you are feeling just like a little uneasy about? One way I ask this, Yvette, a little different way, but I feel like it leads to like a similar place probably. Is I say, like, have you had a brand photo shoot before? And like, did you love your photos or did you not love them? Like, and what was it? Like, and I also ask, like, how confident on camera do you feel? That's another question that I love asking, like on that connection call. And this is also part of my brand questionnaire. I ask it again on the brand questionnaire, and I give them an opportunity just to open up about if they do have insecurities on camera. Like, I want to know about it. Like, I want, if they have a favorite side, it's like we do this as photographers when we're like, what's your favorite side? Like the left or the right, right? And that's helpful to know. Like, if they love their right side right now, like, hey, like, capture a lot of photos on the right side because they're gonna love that more. And also, there's an opportunity then to get some left side photos of them, but pose them and direct them in a way that they look at the photo and they're like, oh, I never loved my left side, but I kind of like this photo. Like, and like there's an opportunity for us to like reflect back to them that like you're perfect as you are. Like, okay, I hear you about your insecurities. I will totally be mindful of those, but you're also like you are so enough, and like I'm going to get a photo where you just look effing amazing and you're gonna love it. So like just let me take care of it, right? Let me take care of it. That is like the VIP experience, the next level experience that some clients really want, and they're happy to invest more money in when you are just taking care of things for them, right? Whether that is hair and makeup, booking locations, planning the photo shoot, creating the shot list, all the things we do on that planning call, to really support them and like feeling good about showing up and getting photos, right? Marga says, I'm good at connecting on the first call, even giving early inspiration ideas. I send the price list after the call, and then I wait a few days to follow up, not to be pushy, but I don't close nearly enough. Yeah, yeah, I've seen this a lot. This is very common, like with photographers. And it sounds like you're doing great, like getting them on the call and like connecting. It sounds like, and you're giving inspiration ideas. Make sure you're not giving too much away. Um, I've been guilty. I used to do that on the call, but it's fine to like get excited, but we don't want to plan the photo shoot for them on the call, right? That connection call, we want to wait until the planning session, because then they're not going to need us. Like, they could take our ideas to another photographer who's cheaper, right? Like, part of what they're paying for, Margot, like to work with you, like part of the value you bring as this like incredible brand photographer is that you do have these amazing ideas for their shoot. Like, you do help plan the vision, but only if they book you first, right? Like, we don't want to give too much away. So I would just be mindful of that. And then you send the price list after the call. And you wait a few days to follow up. Yeah, like one of my four C's to sales for my like sales process is commitment. So like on that call, I am wanting to get the commitment from them on the call. And like I do it in a way that's not pushy. Like, I hate pushy sales. Like, I feel you on that. We don't want to be pushy because that's not a good energy. Like, if we're being pushy, like they're gonna feel that and they're not gonna book. I don't book pushy salespeople, right? I'm like, ooh, I get like really turned off from pushy sales. But here's, and this is a perfect example. I'll tell you about the call I just had and how I went into that conversation at the end. So, this woman who I got on the phone is the most incredible human. So she is a coach. She's a coach for moms who have lost a child. Okay. And she helps them through that process of like, how do you start your life again after losing a child? So, like, this work that she's doing and that a lot of our clients are doing is so life changing and so impactful. Like, how freaking incredible is that? And I got to hear her story today on the call and like why she does what she does. And like, I got to know her a little bit and why she's so passionate for this. And at the end of the call, like, and she had really opened up to me about how like she's been putting this photo shoot off because she gained some weight and during COVID, like so many people, right? And that's a huge objection I hear all the time from like so many clients. I'm sure you've gotten it too, like, oh, I need to lose weight first, or I'm not like feeling great right now. So here's our opportunity to really step up and be the expert. And like, when you be the expert, that's where you know you get to charge more money and you get to step into this next level client because she wants an expert. So I stepped up at the end of the call and I said, like, hey, I know, like, well, let's do this. Like, let's get you booked. Let's get that. And we talked about, she told me she saw my pricing on the website and she's leaning towards the half day. And we talked through that about why the half day is probably better for her. Well, I just listened. She told me, she talked. I'm just listening, right? And so at the end I said, hey, I know you already decided like the half day is good for you, and you already like, I can tell from our conversation today, like you're committed and this is the next step for really putting yourself out there and like for this new business, because this is a brand new business. She's not like a business owner that's been in business a long time. She is just starting. Like, she doesn't have a website yet, but she's willing to invest thousands of dollars into a brand shoot because she wants an expert. So I stepped up as the expert and I told her at the end of the call, like getting to know her, I said, like, let's get your photo shoot booked. Like, I'm going to send you the invoice today for that half day because it sounds like that's the perfect one for you. And then I'll send you some dates and we can pick dates. But we talked about how mid-December is probably great for her. And like something I said is because she said, well, what's like, when do you have availability? I said, well, you know, I want to get you in sooner than later because you're working on your website, but I do want to give you 6 weeks of time because I know you're going to want time to potentially hire a stylist. I told her I'm going to send stylist referrals over to her of people I recommend for her. And in that would really support her, especially like her feeling insecure about her weight right now. That's going to really help having someone pick like amazing outfits, for her body type. And so like that was the way I stepped up as an expert as well on the call. And like, I let her know I'm going to send recommendations for her. I didn't say, let me send them now, right? No, she needs to book me for that first. And then I'm going to send the things. But yeah, basically at the end of the call, like how I went into the closing the sale is like saying like, Margot, like, let's get you booked now. I feel like this is the next step for you. We already decided a half day's great, mid-December's great. Like she's already hired a website designer. Like she already knows like this is the next step. So I said like, I'd love to get you like booked today and then we can like start the planning process of the photo shoot. And the reason she said, okay, great, like that sounds good. The reason like I got the yes was like that whole 30-minute call leading up to that moment. I really got to know her. Like I really saw her. Like she wasn't just a potential client to me, a lead. Like she wasn't just a deal to me, right? Like she was this amazing coach, like this woman who's helping these people and changing the world. And like she deserves and needs a beautiful brand photo shoot. And like I would have done her a huge disservice to just like let her be in her head about her like insecurities of like the weight loss and like the timing and all the things and letting her think about it. No, like I said, let's get you booked. Like let's get this on the calendar because this is the next step for you, right? Like let's do this. So I that was my energy. Like I showed up as like I'm the expert, like I got you. After our conversation, I'm so confident that like I can give you the exact photos you need. Once I kind of understood her brand and what she's looking for, like from the call, like I felt confident enough to say like let's get you booked today. I'm going to send the agreement. And then what you'll do is, I told her next steps. Like I said, so yeah, look out for that email from me. And I double checked, like, is this the best email to use? And I said, I'll send that over like today or by tomorrow. I said by tomorrow. I like to give myself a little time in case, but I'm going to do it right after our live. Um, yeah, like, and then you'll just like you can read through the agreement, and then sign the agreement and pay the deposit, and then it'll be official. And then I'll send that email for you of like the stylist recommendations, a link to book your planning call, and like more information, and we'll start planning everything. And I was excited, and I came from that energy of like, oh, I'm so excited for this. I'm so grateful that you found me. I was like, how did you find me? Like, I'm so grateful. Like, you are the perfect, like, the type of woman I love working with. Like, don't be afraid to tell people that, like, if you want to work with them, let them know, like, oh, I would love to work with you. Like, are you letting your clients know how excited you are to work with them? Are you really investing in their vision and getting to know what they want and who they are and like why they do this work? Or are you like being in your head, like, ooh, what's the next question I should ask on the sales call? Ooh, how do I talk about like what's included? Or like, ooh, should I tell her this offer or that offer? No, like that stuff doesn't matter. They don't care about that, right? Like this VIP client that you want to attract, like they want someone who just like sees them. Someone who like, earlier, Bianca said, like someone who can like be a breath of fresh air for them. Be the photographer who's the breath of fresh air, and like be the photographer who makes them feel comfortable on camera and like comfortable talking about what they do. Like that's what we offer. Like it's so much more than just the photos, right? Um, and yeah, so Margot, I would challenge you. You said I love the line, let's get you booked. More encouragement to not put off starting their dream brand. Yeah, like what if the next time you were on a call, Margot, and someone said like, okay, well, like, thank you, I'm gonna think about it. Like, what if you stepped up and you were like, you know what else do you need to think about? Like, I'm here if you have any more questions, but it sounds like this is the next step for you and I'd love to work with you, so why don't we just get you booked so we can start planning? What if you like really stepped up and said something like that? I mean, yeah, I feel like it will make a difference for your people, because people need that push to not put it off. People need the push. And sometimes we do still get people who are like, okay, um, I just need to check on something, whatever. Like, I get that sometimes. And in that case, like, yeah, follow up with them like right away. Um, like it sounds like you do that. You send the pricing after the call. I'm curious, Margot, if you say the pricing on the call. Hopefully you do. If they haven't seen it yet, hopefully you just tell them what it is on the call. Because if they haven't seen the pricing yet, then yeah, they can't say yes, right? They can't say yes on the call until they see the pricing. So I'm curious if you do that too. But yeah, it's like all these little things about our sales process like add up and really matter to like that next level client saying, "Ooh, this girl's good. Like I trust her. Like I have to work with her now after this call." Like, yes, I'm hiring you. you know, Most likely they're almost already a yes if they're going to take the time to reach out to you. That takes a lot of guts right there. And then they're going to take the time to get on the phone with you and like use their time to like talk to you. They're pretty much a yes. It's just like that last little bit of like connecting and understanding their vision and like really stepping into like, I'm the expert and I got your back, right? So she said she doesn't say it on the call. That's why, because they don't know the pricing. How can they say yes? They need to know the pricing, right? So, like this client I had today, she already had looked at my website, and from the call, she had already told me, like, I looked at your stuff on the website. I think I want to go with the brand refresh. So I already knew she saw the pricing, right? So the pricing wasn't going to be an issue. A lot of times we think, ooh, it's the pricing. If they can afford it, it's not the pricing. She already saw my pricing. She could have just booked me in the email, right? But she wanted to get on the call because she really wanted to make sure I was the one. Like this was the right decision. So it was, so much more than just like, here's the pricing. We didn't even talk about pricing on the call because I knew she'd seen it. So it was just like, all right, let's do this. Like, let's do this now, you know? Um, yeah, I mean, you don't, it's up to you if you want to send the pricing ahead. So this is what I would say. Like, I want to give you some advice if you're open for it, Margot, since you took the time to be here today on the call. I want to give you some coaching around this. If you are not booked out 8 weeks ahead, like if you look at your calendar and you're not like for me, booked out is 4 photo shoots a month, like one a week. If I look ahead and I don't have like 8 photo shoots booked in the next 2 months, then I'm not fully then I'm going to encourage people to get on the phone. Like I want to encourage them to like get on the phone with me and like take that extra time to connect with them and really like again like be that like position. I know I've said this so many times on this call, but like this is a theme that I want you to remember is like I'm going to be the expert. I'm going to like really lead a powerful conversation and like really connect with them on the call and really see them and hear their vision. And I'm going to take the extra time to do that and do the sales call. Now, there's been times in my life where like in my business where I am booked. I am booked 2 to 3, 4 months out. So I don't feel like I need to do the sales calls. And I got to a point in my life when in my um life where I became a mom and all of a sudden like instead of 5 working days and like 5 full working days during the week, I had like 2, maybe 3. So I had a lot less time to get on the phone with people. And that's honestly the only reason I stopped doing the call is just because time. And I've gotten to a place because I've served 300 plus entrepreneurs and I have a brand and I am really well known for this like in our industry now where I don't have to do the sales call anymore to book people. People will book me through like my beautiful like I do have a beautiful pricing and services guide. I have a great website now. I didn't have that before, but now I do. So now I'm at a place where I feel like they can see my price and they can still book me without doing that call. But if you're in a place where like you do want clients sooner than later and you're not booked out a lot like a couple months ahead right now, I would just say try to get everybody on the phone and tell them the price on the phone. And I know this is scary, but yeah, like I'm gonna get to the other questions I see coming in too. But yeah, please drop questions if you guys have questions. We're gonna wrap up soon here. Yeah, like I know it's like kind of like uncomfortable to talk about on the phone, but once you just get over that and you remember it's not about you, it's about like that client who's like this is gonna be so perfect for her to take the next step in her business. It becomes much easier if you look at if you go in with that mindset to just say okay well it's $1,000 deposit today to get you all booked and then 2 more payments of $1,000 and then you just wait and let them say like cool or let them say oh like are you open to a different payment plan or like could I pay you tomorrow sure like yeah, it's like it takes practice, but like I would encourage you to just try it. And then we can still send that follow-up email if they don't say yes on the phone with like a beautiful like pricing guide. Hopefully you're not just sending a pricing like list, but you actually have a pricing services guide that like communicates more values that has like testimonials and it has like um, the value of working with you in the guide. That's really important too as part of your sales process. That's something I would encourage you to have as part of your sales process. It can be really helpful. You're welcome. I'm glad. Thank you for being here live. So Douglas, there was one more question that said, I wanted to read what Yvette said. I often ask, does this sound good? Does this sound like something you want to do? It gets them saying yes multiple times. I continually check in with them. Yeah, like, I mean, that's totally like, I learned this in like sales, like, get them to say yes on the phone, like, and that's a great thing to do. And it sounds like what you're doing, Yvette, is just like you're just checking in with them and you're making sure like this is what you want, right? Like this is what you want and like is that yeah, like that's perfect. Like you're investigating and you're like checking in with them and making sure it's like what they want. And Douglas said, pricing isn't an issue for me. Getting leads is an issue. What works best? Expos, Google Ads, something else. Networking has been dead. Yeah. So, what I would say to you, Douglas, is like what we're talking about today, this is your lead generator. So, your client experience, like creating that next level VIP experience and really taking the time with each client to like blow their freaking minds, that's going to be so much better, like long term for you. Um, Investing in that than worrying about like Google ads. Like, and I'm not saying they don't work. I'm not saying not to do that too, but like I would ask you like how are you feeling currently about your brand client VIP experience? Like, is that all like dialed in right now for you? Like, do you have a brand questionnaire that you send out? Do you have like the workflow set up for your clients to really support them so that when you do get your next client, and you will, right? They're coming. Like, when they do, they're going to be like mind blown. I'm obsessed with Douglas, and I'm going to go tell 5 or 10 of my friends to sign up and do their brand photo shoot with Douglas. So like that's what we're talking about today, where it's like if you invest into this and like it's the little shifts, right? In that sales process, asking the right questions on the questionnaire, sending the questionnaire, doing a planning call where you're really supporting the client and you're like taking the lead of planning the session, like that's what people are going to talk about. And that is going to bring you more clients in the long run. But Tara popped in and like, yeah. And I just want to wrap this up for Douglas. Like, interesting you say networking has been dead. I always have like really good luck networking, but you have to go in with like the mindset of I you have to go in with a strategy and with strategies like when you're networking, right? Like you have to be in the right circle of like business owners who are the perfect fit for you and like who are like your ideal clients. And then like you have to have like your elevator pitch kind of like dialed in as well. And this is something like we work on in my coaching containers, just so you know, like we dial in that like elevator pitch that's going to really stand out. And like we work on like refining your brand promises so that when you do meet people, you're going to say something that's going to really captivate their attention. And they're going to say, ooh, that's exactly what I need. Can we talk more? Like, can I get your information? And then also like, and I think like what Douglas is talking about is like, I know since COVID, there were a lot of events that got canceled. I don't know if that's what you mean, Douglas, but like now where we're at now, like networking is like coming in hot again. Like in-person events are happening. And like, big business expos and conventions where our business owner ideal clients are at that we can like really go in with a strategy and like and leverage that event to like connect with that next level client who is going to invest in brand photography. Um, and yeah, like for me, Doug, it's all worked, right? I've never done Google Ads. Um, but yeah, like events have worked really well for me. Um, and just going back to the basics, and this is why I brought it up, is like having an incredible, mind-blowing client experience. That is what works. Like, and that has brought me so many referrals that brought more referrals and more referrals. And I do use Instagram. Like y'all see me on Instagram. Like Instagram works. Instagram works, Facebook works, LinkedIn works. I can tell you this because I coach so many photographers, and so many of my photographer clients are finding great brand clients from Instagram, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from events. Like there's endless ways now. There honestly is, and you have to really just find like what works for you and like what is that like sales process that's going to like get them to say like yes, I'm ready to work with you, right? It all works. It can all work, but we get to decide like what we actually love to do when it comes to like generating the leads. And then Tara, hello girl, glad you could pop in here. And you said a burning question you have: do you present unedited proofs or do you meet in person? So I think you're asking like, do I meet in person for like the reveal when you're sending that gallery, the proof gallery? And then Tara says, I use after shoot. Oh, do you edit and then preset? I use after shoot and Imogen AI, but it's still way too many and time consuming. Also, your hair looks great. Thanks, girl. Appreciate that. As a mom, I take a little time to get ready because that's like it just makes me feel so much better. Because inside, I just want y'all to know, like, I am exhausted most days. I'm feeling pretty tired lately, like figuring it out with these two little kids. This my 4 month old and my soon to be 2 year old, and this business. Like, it's a lot. So I appreciate that. Okay, so for your questions, what I do, and again, this is one of those things where there's like not a right answer. It's like what is going to work best for you. But what I do is I do cull the photos. Usually I'll take on like, let's say a half day photo shoot. I might take like 1,500 photos of the client, maybe 2,000. Yeah. So I cull those down. I don't send them that many photos because that is extremely overwhelming. And, half those photos weren't good anyways. Um, so I cull it down to about like, I promise the client you're going to get for a half day. I promise like you're going to get, I think I say like 400 or more photos. So I try to cull it down to around 500, like, or less. Like, sometimes it's 400, sometimes 500. And then typically I send the unedited raw versions, but exported as JPEGs. So I'll upload that cold 400 into Lightroom, and I'll export it as JPEGs. I try not to edit, but sometimes I do. Like sometimes I'll do a light edit if there was like, ooh, this scene that we did in the living room was like pretty underexposed and I need to bump it up. I'll just do like a really quick edit on like those few. I'll do like a quick look through just to make sure they look like decent, but I don't edit the photos before sending them because part of like my client experience that I've created is they get to pick their favorites and then I do the editing. So then from that 400, they'll go through the shoot proof gallery and they'll star their favorites. And I include like 50 for a half day or 100 images for the full day. So once they've starred their favorites and let me know, then I do the edits. And they get retouching on 5 to 10 photos. Then I do that if they want it. Sometimes they don't even ask for it. And then I send the final gallery. Hopefully that answered your question. I don't do like an in-person reveal session. I just send it via email. Yeah, that's how I do it. Let me know if that answered your question or if there's another question in there. And then Doug said, I go to networking events, can't get anyone interested enough to follow up. I don't know if I'm targeting the right avatar. I've got a full client experience already. Branding meeting, questionnaire, planning session, ordering session, etc. Okay. I would say, Douglas, have you worked with, who is your ideal client? Like, have you worked with someone you just felt like, ooh, I just like really connected with them, could totally be myself, and like, they were super happy, like they loved the experience. And it's okay if you haven't yet, because it sounds like you might be newer to branding. I'm assuming maybe you haven't worked with a lot of clients or you're looking for more clients because you're newer. Is that right? There is like, so yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I would be curious. I would want to like break it down. Like, what is the conversations like that you're having at the networking events? And like, how are you kind of like positioning yourself as an expert? And what's your follow up game, Doug? So, what I like to do is this is a hack for you. I go into the networking event and I say, like I try to like meet a few people, and like sometimes I go to events where like we stand, like each person gets a turn to quickly say what they do and then sit down, and so that way like I listen and I know like, ooh, that they would be an ideal client, or they would be. So I might introduce myself and I just say, ooh, I love like, and I come across as like, again, like same thing with like the connection call, like I want to get to know you, like tell me about you, like, ooh, this sounds so cool, like you do this type of coaching, like I love that, can I get your Instagram? And I will like really connect with them from a genuine place of like just wanting to get to know them. And I always get their Instagram because for me, that's where I like to hang out. That's where I'm posting content and updates. So for me, I make sure to get their Instagram and I make sure to go follow them, like their content, start to engage with their content, watch their stories, send DMs and just say, hey, it was great to meet you. I love what you're doing. Like, I'm glad we're connected now. And there's no strings attached where I'm like, I'm not pitching myself. I'm not saying like, do you need a brand shoot tomorrow? Like, no. I'm just like getting curious, really seeing them, like being interested in their business and like, cause like, okay, so you are new to branding. Well, one thing you'll learn is like working with business owners love to talk about themselves. Like business owners love to talk about why they're passionate for what they do, right? Like if you're going to be a business owner, we all know running a business is like so much work and it's so much easier to work for someone else, right? So if you're going to be a business owner, there must be something you're super passionate about doing that you just have to do. So like getting curious about that and who they are and like investing in them first, right? Like engaging with them first, no strings attached, just like showing up and being a part of their community. And then they're gonna see what you do, right? They're gonna see your Instagram, they're gonna like get curious, they're gonna like go to your website and look at your work. And when they're ready for a brand shoot, like you're gonna be top of mind. And I just want you to know another big thing to keep in mind about events is it doesn't always happen right away. Sometimes you get lucky, but I went to the same event every single month for 6 months before I got a single client. Finally, 6 months later, I got a client. And so like it does take some patience and like that relationship building period sometimes, and not always. Maybe you'll get someone hire you from the very first like time you go to that event. That would be amazing, right? It could happen. I mean, hopefully it happens, but it might not. So it's like sticking with it. Yeah, it's a long game, like Taylor said, for sure. And like um another like little like strategy I want you to try, Doug, is like is there an event where like, ooh, this event has business owners I know need like new headshots, new branding photos, like I know my clients are there. Could you reach out to the like coordinator of the event and say like, hey, just wondering if you want like some free brand photos like for the event, like would you like me to come capture the event, like I just want to get in front of more business owners and I'd love to sponsor you, like like I'll send 10 to 20 photos from the event, I'll get photos for you that you can share in your social media, and in return, like if you could just mention me as a sponsor, like I would be, really grateful. And if you do that, like that's going to also help really position you as that expert, and be seen as that expert. And yeah, like that is, I would recommend doing that. And that's what I did. Like when I would go to the networking events, like I would do photos for them for free for that hour to a couple, but I'd still have an opportunity to like network. I just set the boundaries like, hey, I'll promise I'll get you 15 to 20 photos and I'll send it a week after or like a couple days after the event. Usually events, they want it a little quicker, the photography, so they can post about it. But like, yeah, so I would like set those boundaries, expectations, and then they'd give me a shout out and people would just see, like people see you taking the photos there and they're like, ooh, who's this photographer? Like I need a photographer. Let me connect with him. Like he's doing photos for this event. Like that's cool. He must be like pretty good. Like it just positions you as like, ooh, he's the expert. He's the brand photographer expert, right? Like, yeah. So I want you to try that, Douglas. The next event you go to, like, reach out to them ahead of time through Instagram or their email or the event, invite, and get in touch with like the people putting the event on and see if you can sponsor photography for the event. And then hopefully they'd also like mention you in the email newsletter or like the information that goes out about the event. Like you could ask them to, mention you in that. Yeah, I would try that. It'll be worth it. Sometimes doing like trades like that for our time can be super lucrative if you're like at the right event, right? And you're in front of the right people. Like it can be totally worth it, right? Awesome. This was fun conversation. I like where the conversation went. I always love your questions. Like I could get on here and just talk, but like when you guys actually make it live, I love it because we actually get like questions and things that you're like dealing with now. And then I get to like do a little like coaching or share ideas, or we get to like have these conversations that are like really relevant to you. So I just thank you all for being here live. Thank you for taking the time. I really hope this was helpful and you got some new ideas and like some fresh perspectives of what you can really do to level up your VIP client experience and create that experience. And if you want support and you want my exact like signature experience from every email template that's set up that goes out to my clients, to the exact brand questionnaire, all the questions on there, to my sales process planning call, and like exactly how I do that, it's all inside the Confident Brand Photographer course. It's all in there. And if you sign up to do any kind of program with me, like my foundation program or Flourish Mastermind, you get the course. So the course is included in that, and you get coaching with me as a bonus, so we can really dive into like specifically your business and kind of like customize some of it for you, so it's even better than like just getting the signature method in the course. We get to like customize, we get to go through any blocks you're having that are coming up as you're actually like implementing this and going and finding clients and testing it out. Like I get to support you to make it even better and like next level. So I'm excited for that. I'm hoping some of you that were on today sign up to do some coaching or join one of my programs so we can do more of this on actual Zoom calls where you get to like, I get to see you too. So yeah, I will be sending out information about that on my email list. And you know what? Let me just drop it in. I'll drop it in the comments too after the live, the link to find out more info about it. All right. I actually do have an application for that. And if you do the application, you're not signing up for anything, but what the application is really helpful for is it'll tell me, like, it'll help me recommend like what is the best program for you. Like, would my course be helpful for you, or are you already like at a really like good place in your business where you're ready for like my higher level mastermind Flourish, which this will be the 4th year in a row I've been doing Flourish. So it just gets better and better every year. There's like so many lessons you get in there that like it just keeps growing, the content portal in there. So you're going to get all of it. But yeah, like I would invite you to fill out an application. Let me just grab that because I think I have the link handy. And that way I can reach back out to you and tell you what I really feel like would be a good place for you to start. Yeah, here it is. Okay, here it is. Yay, because I just wrapped up the 8 months of Flourish, our last round. And so we are starting a new round, a new mastermind soon for those of you who are interested. So here it is. Yay. Yeah, so if you just fill out this application, then I'll just send you all the information and like the options so you can actually look it over, the pricing, the options, and we can talk about like what's actually going to serve you right now. I don't know if that worked. Oh, it did work. There it is. So I would love for you to fill that out. And then we can see from there. But either way, join me next week as well. So Monday next week, I'll be on here again for part 3 of our foundations chat. And what are we talking about next week? I already forget. Last week we talked about mindset shifts, 6-figure mindset shifts. So watch that if you didn't see that. This week we talked about the VIP client experience. Yeah, I can't remember what the last topic is, but I'm spacing out right now. I need more coffee. So I'm going to go do that and eat something. And I will hopefully see you all next week. You're welcome. Thank you for being here live. Have a great day. Bye.